Yo, what's up, everybody? Another little quick midday, mid-workday hit video here. As you can tell by the title and thumbnail here, there's going to be a lot of speculation to this, but I'm going to try to tie some tea leaves together here in this video, essentially. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, I listen to as much stuff about this sport as I possibly can, right? And one of the major people who puts out a ton of stuff would be Mathis over at Pulp MX there. Now, love him or hate him, that guy has information, that guy has insights, that guy has all sorts of stuff that most of us mere mortal folks cannot get a hold of, right? And one thing I've learned by listening to his shows as much as I have is that he doesn't get quite as speculative as some of us do. He does speculate on a few things, but he's not overly speculative. He doesn't necessarily tie the tea leaves together like we do on some of these other channels here. So when he says something, he will downplay it a little bit, but most of the time if he says it, he's heard at least some decent rumblings about it. He's heard it from someone, whether he'll openly admit it or not, right? And he kind of talked about, for everyone, I'm talking about his newest show here. It's currently the 11th of December that I'm recording this. So whatever his Monday night show was, I don't know the number, would be where I'm hearing this stuff and the show I'm specifically talking about, right? So basically, on this show, they were talking a little bit of 2025 coming up here, and he wanted everybody on the show to give like a hot take coming into 2025. And Mathis drops a hot take of Sexton will go to Kawasaki in 2026. And again, he plays it off as, I don't know, man, I don't know, I'm just making it up, which, again, if you've listened to enough of Mathis's stuff, you know that he'll put stuff out like that, but it's stuff that he's hearing through the grapevine or direct sources, essentially, that there's a probability this is going to happen. He's dropped a lot of this knowledge over the years on different things. And again, if you don't pay attention to it or you take it for face value, again, he just plays off as, I don't really know, I'm making it up. You know, but he doesn't speculate that hard on things. Okay. Now, a lot of the rest of us will kind of take things and we'll speculate on some things to an extent. I mean, we've done it here, hence the reason we have the TLR tinfoil hat segment on the show, because there are some things that we're like, look, this is just a thought that came in my head, so we'll see. But Mathis doesn't quite do that the same. So anyway, on the show, Mathis speculates that Sexton will go to Kawasaki in 2026. Now, I hear this and I start putting together all the little tea leaves of things that we either all know collectively or a few things that I'm hearing through the back channels of different things. So let's just kind of walk through this really quickly. I just want to put this video out so that if it does happen, I can give credit that Mathis was the first one to call this, but I can also say, hey, we put all these pieces together with all these little pieces of info and said this is probably what's going to happen, and we'll go from there. So again, if you don't like the speculative stuff, this probably isn't the video for you, and that's fine. We'll see y'all. Check it out. We got a 250 Supercross preview, 450 Supercross preview coming out soon. But anyway, okay, so Sexton to Kawasaki in 2026. Let's jump into this. Okay, so we all know that Sexton had a 2-year deal with Kawasaki, with KTM with the option of a 3rd year here. We all know that Sexton's first year on KTM did not go well. Now, I've heard, again, from reliable sources, that there was very serious talk of him leaving KTM mid-2024 here. They were very unhappy with the bike. They couldn't get it figured out. It's now coming out. He's openly talking about it at the media day they just had, that at this point last year, he wasn't even riding the whoop section because they couldn't get the bike figured out. He needed to get away from Honda. He wanted to get away from Honda because he just didn't feel like he could get that figured out either. Then he goes to KTM, and it's an even bigger struggle. So pulling off the outdoor championship definitely helped that relationship and helped keep him in that contract. I totally feel like if he doesn't win that outdoor championship, if Jet stays healthy and ends up just dominating him all year, I definitely feel that we don't see Chase on KTM here in 2025. Where he goes, I don't know at this point, but whatever. Anyway, we also know that when Chase selected the KTM here, he rode several other brands. Now, it hasn't really been put out what all those brands are, but I do know, and we have heard, and even Ricky's dropped these tidbits here, that he did ride a Star bike at some point. Now, from what I've heard, he absolutely detested the Star bike. He did not like it. He didn't like the way it handled, didn't like the way it felt, didn't fit his riding style, whatever the hell you want to say it is. He did not like the Star bike, hence the reason he went to KTM. He could have gone to Star from what I understand, but he went to KTM, okay? So cool. So now we're on KTM. We left Honda because of, again, the Lawrence cloud there, or you know, thing that's blotting out the sun. So we're not going to stay at KTM. Husky and Gas are out because Lord knows what's even going on with them. I have a feeling we're going to see a mass exodus from KTM here of people because of the financial situation they're in. I know everybody's like, oh, we're good for 2025. This is a moving target that I think we're going to see how that goes, but that's a whole nother video that we'll get into at some point. So he won't stay at KTM. Gas and Husky are off the table, obviously, because that's a whole situation there too. He won't go back to Honda. So now you've got Star Racing, you have Suzuki, and you have Kawasaki, and I guess you could say Triumph and Ducati, but I'm not really sure what's going on 450-wise with either of those. So if you're going with the big ones, you've got Star and Kawasaki and Suzuki. But again, I don't believe he's going to go to Suzuki. Maybe, but I think Kenny's leaving there too. If Kenny was staying at Suzuki, possibility, but I don't think they could afford him either. I don't know. Let's put it this way. I don't think Suzuki's working out. So now you're down to Star and Kawasaki. He didn't like the Star Yamaha. So, okay, so that's kind of out. So now he's going to go to Kawasaki. Now with Kawasaki, we know they just put up a big deal for Prado, okay? So they've got Prado. They've locked him in long-term. I think it's 3 years, maybe even a possible fourth-year option. I'm not 100% sure, but it's at least 3 years from what I've heard. And we all know that Anderson is out of Kawasaki after this year. And I don't think there's any way that Kawasaki keeps Anderson. He's a little bit older than what they like to have on that team. He hasn't really performed. I just don't, as much as they're saying, oh, everything's great, everything's fine, whatever, I just don't think that whole experiment is working quite the way they want it to. It worked great the first year, and now I think we're starting to see a decline. Plus, I'm hearing a lot of rumors of Anderson going to Triumph for 26. Now, does that change because of the whole Bobby Hewitt not being their thing? I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. But anyway, so I think you see Sexton go to Kawasaki. Now, the other thing I've heard about Kawasaki is I've heard Kawasaki's putting up big numbers. They want to go after title contention dudes, right? So I've heard some big numbers floated around for a certain dangerous kid that's coming up that Kawasaki's actively putting out. That is, as far as I know, we'll call that, it's a 90% legitimate thing that I've heard, that they're putting up these huge numbers here to try to draw in that kid. Now, again, I don't think that's going to happen either. That's a whole nother video. We've kind of touched on that a whole bunch in the show, so you can go look that stuff up there. But I don't think that's going to happen either. So it would make sense that Kawasaki is going to go after Sexton, and it would make sense for Sexton to move there after this year. Because again, I think this year, and we'll get into this more in the 450 preview, I think this year will go okay, but I don't think it's going to go absolutely excellent. Like, I don't think Chase gets it done. And the longer he goes in Supercross without winning a race, which again, if he goes all year till the last round again, that's a problem. The faster you're going to see him exit KTM here. So when you start to put all of this together, Kawasaki wants big name riders to be able to go after titles. There's money there from Kawasaki. The KTM financial issues, the issues that Sexton's been having with the bike since last year. When you start to put all these together, this makes sense. And I don't think Mathis is pulling this out of his ass like we do sometimes and just putting it out there. So I believe there's a high probability right now. I'm going to give it, to be honest, right now on December 11th, 2024, I'm going to give this a 75% chance that come 2026, we will see Sexton on a green bike. Comment your thoughts down below. Make sure to join our members area. 450 Supercross preview is coming out we're recording it this Sunday. And if you're a member, you can watch us record it live, and then you can watch all the shows being recorded live for the 2025 season there. So make sure to join the members area. Thanks to all our sponsors. Make sure to check them out. Link in the description down below. This is a quick hit. Comment your thoughts, and we'll see everybody on the next one.